Okay guys, I'm now on page 464 and I'm looking at the Convince Me. So hopefully you either watched the visual learning video or you read page 464 on the top. And the Convince Me question is, here is how Lydia found the product 4/5 times 10. 4/5 times 10, she said, equals 4 times 1/5. So she broke it down using the unit fraction, which is 1/5, times 10. She then took that and did 4 times 10/5, and then she knew that 10/5 in proper fraction is equal to 2, so she did 4 times 2 is 8. And what they wanted us to do is they wanted us to use the model in order to show that her answer of 8 is correct. So here's my model. I have 10 circles there, and we're doing 4/5 of the 10. So again, just like the solve and share, my denominator of 5 tells me that I need 5 full groups. So 5/5 would be the whole. So if I have 10, I need to make 5 equal groups. So a group of 2, a group of 2, a group of 2, a group of 2, and a group of 2. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. She needs to use 4 of the fifths. So 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. 4/5 equals 2, 4, 6, 8. And that was her answer. That was the Convince Me on 464. I'm now moving to the next page, which is the guided practice. And if you look at the top of the guided practice, there's another example for you. So they're breaking down 3/4 times 2. They're showing you how you can divide the 2 into 4 equal parts. Each part is 1/2. So 3/4 times 2 equals 3 halves. We're doing 3 times 2 is 6 over 4. They simplified that down to 3 over 2, and they changed that 3 over 2 to 1/2. Okay, that is on the top of the guided practice page, so you can take a look at that. On the actual guided practice, for the do you understand, they want us to explain why the product of 4 times 2/3 is the same as 2/3 times 4. Now, we need to think about what we know about multiplication. So if we take the fractions away, I know that 2 times 3 is 6, right? If I flip that around and I do 3 times 2, does my answer change? No, it's still 6. So when I do this in fractions, if I'm using the same numbers but I'm just flipping them around, it's not changing my value. So if I go back to the problem, they said 4 times 2/3 and 2/3 times 4. All I'm doing is I'm switching the order that I'm solving them in. Doesn't change the value at all. If you go back to what I explained in the solve and share, I can throw a 1 down there in my denominator and do the same thing there. If I multiply across, 4 times 2, 8. 1 times 3, 3. On this one, 2 times 4, 8. 3 times 1, 3. I get 8/3 for both of them. Obviously, I would keep going and I would simplify those down because they're both improper fractions, but it's going to give me the same answer because the improper fractions are the same. For question number 2, in the problem at the top of page 464, what multiplication equation could be used to find how many yards of fabric Claudia did not use? So if we go back to that problem, they said that Claudia has 8 yards of fabric and she needs 3/4 in order to make her banner. So if she's using 3/4 to make the banner, so 3/4 of 8 to make the banner, what would be the amount that she doesn't need? Well, what's the remaining portion out of 3/4? So how many fourths make a whole? 4, which means there's 1/4 left. So our new equation is going to be 1/4 of 8. Again, 1/4 times 8 over 1. 1 times 8, 8. 4 times 1, 4. 8 divided by 4, or how many 4s are in 8? 2. So there are 2 yards that she doesn't need, and there are 6 yards that she does need. That was question number 2 on the guided practice. Okay, and the remaining 2 problems, they wanted us to use the models to find the product. So we have 2/3 of 6. So they gave us 6 circles for that one. Again, we're going to split those 6 circles into 3 groups. So they're going to be divided like that: group 1, group 2, group 3. Remember, with fractions, all of your groups have to have the same number of parts in each group. We want 2 of the 3 groups, which means we want 4. If we solve that without the model, 2/3 times 6, or 6 over 1, it gives me 12/3. 12/3 is improper. 12 divided by 3 gives me my 4. Okay, and the last one is 3/8 times 4. And this time, they gave me 4 circles, but I have 1/8. So in order to solve this, we need to first create our 1/8 by putting our circles into half circles. So now I have 8 parts, and I need to, from that 3/8 of 4, I need to pick the 3 of the 8 parts. That would give me an answer of 1 whole, and a half of the second one. So my final answer is going to be 1.5. Again, going back to strictly multiplication, if I put my 1 under there and make my 4 into 4 ones, I end up with 12/8. How many 8s are in 12? 1. How many parts do I have left? I have 4/8. We know that 4/8 can be simplified down. Think about all the things I can divide by. I can divide by 2, but 2 is not going to give me the answer that is my final answer. I can also divide by 4, because both 4 and 8 are divisible by 4. So if I divide 4/8 by 4 over 4, I end up with 1/2. I need to remember to add in the whole number, which was 1. So I end up with 1.5, the same as I did down there. Today you have a very short independent practice, because there are only 3 questions on the bottom of 465. I do want you to make sure that you go into Pearson Realize, because I noticed that some people have not been going in and doing their quick checks. You do have assignments on Pearson Realize also, quick checks and Practice Buddy and the homework page. Please make sure you open the assignments so the assignments are bundled together. The quick checks are counting as a grade, as are the Practice Buddies. So you want to make sure that you really take your time, but make sure you're submitting them. If there are any other questions, you can ask in the comments, and I will get back to you. Have a good day and continue to work hard.